Welcome back. In the subsequent steps, the focus is on understanding the need for mocking and the Mockito framework. But before we get into complex examples, let's write a simple unit test and see how we can get started with it. Let's create a business class. So I'm going to source main Java and I would create a simple business class. It can be some very simple business logic, right? So I'll say com in 28 minutes, unit testing is the package. Inside that I'll create a sub package called business, right? So over here I'll create a simple business class, right? So business impl. Let's just create a simple sum business impl and say finish. And let's say this sum business impl has some business logic present in here, right? So public, let's say it's calculating sum. So let's keep it very simple. Let's say it's calculating a sum of an array which is passed to it. Calculate sum, and to it an integer array is passed. So integer data, int value in data, and oops, let's create a temporary variable called sum is equal to 0, and you can probably do sum plus is equal to data, right? It's as simple as that, and over here I can say return sum. Now this is a very simple thing, right? This is there is no complexity about it. Actually sum plus should be value, return sum, and this would calculate the sum and return it back. And how do I unit test this? It's very simple, right? That's where JUnit test comes into picture. So I can go to the source test Java. Source test Java is where we would create. So I can say new JUnit unit test case. I'll say JUnit 4 test. This sum business impl is in business package. So let's use the same package, and I'll call this sum business test and say finish. So we have a new test in here, and here we're going to test the calculate sum method. So I'll say calculate sum, I'll say basic scenario, right? So that's basically what we are doing. And over here I can create the sum business impl. So sum business impl business is equal to new sum business impl. Cool. And I can say business dot calculate sum, and I can create a new int array directly in here, right? So I can say new int 1, 2, 3, and I'll take the return value assign statement to a new local variable, and I'll say result, right? When we write unit tests, there is an actual result, and what else is present? There is an expected result as well, right? In expected result, the result we expect is 6. And what do we do in a unit test typically? Result equals 6 comma actual result, or actually I should have said result equals expected result comma actual result. Expected first, actual next. That's what we would do in a typical unit test, right? So as soon as you add an test annotation on a method, it would be run as a unit test. That's all we would need. So if I do this right now, you would see that the test runs successfully. So calculate sum basic, this runs successfully. If I said expected result is 8, what would happen? You know, the test would fail. It says expected 8 but was 6 because the expected result was wrong. So if there is any implementation mistake in the calculate sum, so if you are missing some value, or let's say the initialization was done to 10, what would happen? The test starts failing. So if there is any problem with the code inside the calculated sum, this test is supposed to catch it. And when we write a lot of unit tests, what we would do is we would write it for a different set of scenarios, right? So calculate sum, and let's say empty array. So if I'm sending an empty array, what is the result expected? Is 0, correct? So if I run this test right now, you'd see that this test would also succeed. That's cool, right? So when we write unit tests, what we would do is we would write unit tests with multiple scenarios. Okay, so what we would do is one value. So one value, when it's 5, expected result is 5. That's cool. So all the 3 tests are running fine. So what we did in this quick step is to establish a sum business impl with a calculate sum method, and we wrote very simple unit test using JUnit. Right, so we used add test as the annotation on the test to make sure that it's running, and we use assert equals, which is one of the JUnit methods, to compare the expected result versus the actual result. If the expected and the actual results do not match, JUnit framework would throw an exception. In the subsequent steps, let's see where Mockito comes into picture. Why do we need Mockito? If all tests are as simple as this, we can write everything with JUnit, right? Why do we need Mockito? That's basically what we will understand in the next few steps. Until then, bye-bye.